Yep.
Welcome to Off the Stage podcast.
We'll do that again.
Oh, that's bad.
I couldn't hear it.
Yeah, you took your headphones off.
Welcome to Off the Stage
Even that.
podcast.
Yes, and welcome to Off the Stage podcast. It's the show where we take musicians off the stage and into the pub to talk about the ins and outs of the music world. I'm James Berry. This is Conor Michael, and today we are joined by that man, fantastic Matt Fairley. There you go.
James doesn't wake up with his teeth in his ear. That's his problem.
I'm the one who introduces, but I'm shit at introducing.
He's having as you've just seen there. Well, I'll take my headphones off. Oh, I can't hear anything. Put it right back on. Hi, Matt. How you doing?
I'm all right, mate. How are you?
Yeah, not too bad. We had you on the podcast. Was it a year ago? We did the HMV Metro Centre one.
Would have been about a year ago.
It was, yeah.
So about a year in, but we only got about 5-10 minutes chat. So it's good to get the full episode.
Yeah,
with you.
that's it.
No, it's awesome.
Thing with those, I mean, I like doing those kind of specials, but again, you only get like what kind of conversation can you have in 10 minutes? There's absolutely nothing. So you got to spring load of questions, and then just like but you know, it's good to have you here anyway.
Oh, thanks a lot. Thanks for having us.
At the Dubliner, by the way.
The Quayside in Newcastle.
Yes.
Yeah. Thank you for Dan for letting me in.
Yep.
I mean, I say letting me in. James opened the door, didn't know how to push the door.
Well,
we got there in the end.
Yeah. Well, I'm not very good at opening doors, to be fair. So you know.
But yeah, in the meantime of having you last on the pod to chat, we had you as a song of the week as well.
Yeah.
You had one of your songs called Fallen. How did that song get produced? What was the story behind that being something in your mind to now on Spotify?
Well, it's long story short. Fallen's about 10 years ago. I fell off a water slide.
All right.
I was on holiday. It was just a freak accident. It was just I came out like I was on a raft. I came out of it. I hurt my back, and I had 8 back surgeries, and I couldn't walk for a year or two, and then and then I got addicted to tramadol because of it, and then addicted to alcohol.
Yeah.
And then so Fallen's basically the story of that. It's a story how literally I went from being a reasonably functioning human to just not like for a good my entire 20s virtually was stopped by the accident.
So you kind of like physically fallen and then metaphorically fallen because of that. That's
ironically I didn't, when I named it Fallen, I didn't at all put together the fact that it was about falling off a slide
literally
until someone went,
but
that makes sense.
And I was like, that was a smart move by me.
That's one of them like tragic stories, but it's a really cool way to do a song. Because when people hear a song Fallen, it's like the Harry Styles thing. You expect it to be like Falling in Love or something like that. It's really cool. That's like a different twist.
Cheers, man. Thank you. Yeah.
Not all that I'm saying. It's a good job you fell off a water slide. But in terms of like songwriting, it tends to be cool when people expect one thing and they're like, "Oh, this will be like a love song." Oh, it's not. But it can be interpreted that way.
Very much so.
Depends who listens to it.
Very much so.
So how did you come out of that Fallen? What did you do to kind of like turn your life around and stuff like that?
Well, it was a very, very slow process. I'm honest. It was like, as well, I've like many people, I've struggled with my mental health. I was diagnosed with depression when I was 12, and I've been medicated ever since. So like that took it was like a plethora of shit just thrown at us, just like the accident, and then my mental health just went downhill, and then but it was probably a good 4 or 5 years just in bed, like in bed. Couldn't, because I was a drummer first. I was in a band. I had to give that up. We had to call it quits on the band because I remember the last gig we played. We were playing at the O2 Academy, and I was wheeled on in a wheelchair, and people thought it was like this Kurt Cobain sort of like red infest, and it wasn't. It was literally I couldn't walk. I wheeled on. I managed to play the gig, and I got wheeled off, and I was like, no, this is not
it's
a life. And then one day I
was that from the addictions, or was that from the surgeries in the back?
I was from the surgery. At that point though, it was a bit of both. Like I was just drinking, but it was constant pain. Like now, I mean, to this day, I'm still in pain. Like it'll never get better. I've hit a point where I'm like,
tolerable.
You're all right now. Eventually, I'll need more surgery, but they've said go as long as you can. So I was like bedbound for like a good few years, and then my wife just got sick to death of us. Like I was unbearable. And she just went, "There's a guitar. You've always said you wanted to learn guitar." I could noodle on guitar, but I would never play. And she said, "Learn how to play." And then
it's a focus in it.
Yeah.
It's like, yeah.
And I literally just sat and I just learned how to play guitar. And
honestly, well, I mean, people will hear it afterwards, but you play spot on, to be honest.
Oh, thank you very much.
You've got a really nice style about you.
Thank you very much. And then from there, it was just like kind of happened. I just it turned into therapy. Like, every one of my songs is like, it's essentially an apology to somebody.
Yeah.
Pretty much.
It's like I was going to say it's cheap therapy, but guitars aren't cheap, are they?
No, definitely not.
No, but it's always good to have that kind of musical interest as a therapy. That was my thing. I had like a depression session 7-8 years ago, and it was one of them. I'll learn guitar by myself for 6 months by again locking myself in a room, and then start doing gigs, sounding shit because you've been playing guitar for 6 months.
Yeah.
But then when you get into it, you kind of get used to the fact that, like, the guitar is that antidepressant, as it were.
Very much
and
so.
And then it becomes a reliant thing.
Very much so.
Hey, Jacob. Yeah, it's cool that works for multiple people as well.
Yeah,
like, it's not just us two. There will be loads of people watching this who'll be like, they might not even know it, but they're like, that might be the reason I picked this up, or they do know it.
I mean, honestly, it's one of the reasons. Like, I can honestly say, hand on heart, it's one of the reasons I am here today, because it got to a point where, well, I mean, I like getting better and whatnot. Is like the music was the comeback when I had to have the surgeries, had to come off medication. I was struggling with that, and I always had a bass. Could always go home and write.
Yeah, safe place.
Yeah, and it really was.
Do you ever still drum now? Everyone needs a drummer.
Yeah, I do. It's funny enough. I've just over the past like 3 or 4 months, I've managed to start again. Like, I feel like I'm starting from scratch.
Yeah,
but I am starting to get a little bit of movement going, because that was the thing for me. We were talking about cymbals before. Like a gig, I would go through about 8 pairs of sticks a gig. Like, I was a very hard player, so to now have to sit very comfortably, everything, like, my kit was almost tilted away from us, whereas now everything's like there. It's like, so I feel like I'm learning again, but at the same time I'm eager to get comfortable behind a kit again, because I feel like that's a part of us that isn't. Like, it's a part of me missing at the minute.
Yeah, I think it's part a lot of bands are missing as well. It's
we make the running joke that James is the only band with 2 drummers in the world right now.
Yeah, probably. It's a bit of a weird
Every
situation.
drummer's got 5 bands, and James has just got 2 battling over who's better to play tonight. But yeah, so obviously Fallen was our song of the week. I think that was January. Like I said, I think that was the first one.
I think it was the first week of January.
What other songs have you got?
That I released, I've got a couple. The first song I released was a song called Sunday Morning, and that is literally like a train of thought. I wrote it after an argument with my wife. But I say an argument, she was basically, the way my life works, I could leave a room, the happiest guy in the world, I'll come back in, and what happened, I don't know, but I'm just unbearable to be around. And it was a conversation like that. My wife just explained to us me foibles, and I just had this train of thought, and I wrote it in about 20 minutes, recorded that night dead quietly at home, sleeping babies upstairs, and then put it on iTunes that night. Not even thinking about anything. It was kind of just like, well, I've wrote it. I feel confident enough to put it out, and then from there, I've got 3 or 4 more songs out. But it's writing's always difficult for me.
Yeah.
Because it's because I'm working through stuff. Like, the songs I'm writing now is kind of processing stuff that happened 5 or 6 years ago.
Yeah.
So I always find it very difficult to be like, I'm ready to release that. So quite often I sit on songs a lot. So I've got about 4 songs out, but I've got about 50 ready to go.
Yeah. It's like the same, to be fair. Like, it's
it's purely a confidence thing. It's like, it still baffles me that people want me to play music for them.
Yeah.
Like, genuinely, I love it, because I'm so self-centered. But at the same time, I do not understand it in the slightest that people want to hear my sad boy music.
It's a funny thing, isn't it? I think I get that a lot, where it's, I don't know, you feel like, why me? Why do you want to listen to what I have to say?
Yeah,
like, it's
very much so.
It's a weird feeling.
But I do feel that like, I'm very lucky. I feel like I'm an oversharer. Like, my music is not so much the songs I've released, because I've kind of had to build up to these, but the newer songs are very, very, very brutally honest, and I'm pulling myself apart, and I believe that's important to do. But when it comes to playing live, like I feel sick. And I literally say on stage, so you're going to get to know me very, very well.
Yeah.
Like I am going to overshare, but then it opens a dialogue, like something which I never had growing up. I'm very lucky. Like, my dad's a very sensitive guy. I never grew up like, men don't talk. I was very always open and honest. But then, life happens. You grow up and you go, I don't want to talk about it. But then the beautiful thing I find with my music is that it opens a dialogue, and then people actually come up to us and say, like, that song, them lyrics are what I've been trying to say.
Yeah.
To me, like, I literally, the last gig I did was, a fella was crying, and his wife came up to us and said, he's just been going, we don't know what's up with him. He's been going to the doctors, and he's just said that song is exactly how I feel. And I was just like, I burst into tears. I was like, how? Like, I'm just writing it in.
It's that interesting.
Like 3 a.m. Yeah, it's beautiful.
Because a lot of people, they say, like, they know what's wrong with them, but they can't explain it in words. And I think songs do bring that out, like, in terms of just in a very, like, neat package of, because it is, even like if you do like rhymes and melodies and stuff, just help with the kind of, that push that emotion of what you're trying to say.
Yeah.
And a lot of people don't have that. So if you've got that and you're kind of reaching people, get that's how I feel. That's quite a big power to have, really. It's like a...
No, I feel very, very lucky. Yeah. I do feel a sense of pressure at the same time, because it's like when people are talking to me about it, I'm like, I am not the guy to talk to. But it's like, I'm really not. Like, but the fact that strangers feel inclined to come up and say something, like,
that's good.
On a human level, like, it means the absolute world. Like, because it baffles me that people want to, because generally all my songs are mostly apologies to my wife for being such an unbearable person to live with over the last 15 years.
Yeah, I think you've answered your own question. I think they're obviously relatable, and if people can relate to your situation, because we're not unique in everyone, well, not everyone, but a lot of people go through very similar things.
Very much so, yeah.
So if you can kind of share your story, there's someone else who have a very similar story to what you have, so they can kind of relate quite well to that.
Yeah.
And if you can manifest that in a really like polished way, like you do with your songs, then that's, as I say, I said it before, it's like a superpower, isn't it, really?
No, it is. I do feel like that, and at the same time, it's a beautiful thing. I really, after every show, it's like it really does, takes us a second to go, like, what, like, because I mean, I write a song, I automatically think somebody else has wrote it.
Yeah.
I go, I've wrote a Lewis
else
Capaldi song. This isn't any good. And then, and so when people go, that's brilliant, I'm like, oh, all right, it takes me a second to like be like, really?
Yeah.
And you're just saying that, and then it still baffles us, but it means the absolute world, like it genuinely does.
That's cool. Like,
so going back to, you say Sunday Morning was the other song you mentioned.
Yeah.
And obviously you recorded it quietly, then released it. Is that your recording process? Do you just do it all at home, or do you ever go to studios and get a producer's opinion on stuff? And
I have my own space that I've got a little setup at home, but I have my own like project studio, which when I can get in, it tends to be hired out by other people a lot, so which is nice. But my process is so all over the place. It mainly, I wish I had a producer, because I feel like I need somebody to say stop.
Yeah.
Like, but then at the same time, because the songs are they mean so much to us, right up until it's like, right, that's a finished product, I'm very much, I can't show anybody this. Like, I feel sick to my stomach. Like, my process is very much self-loathing. I don't know why I do it. I really don't know why I do it. That's why I do it. Yeah. It's literally like, which is probably like most people, but it's very, and I tend to write in the middle of the night. I tend to write between like 1 a.m. and 5 a.m.
Yeah.
I have insomnia, and so sleeping.
If it's in your mind, you go, right, okay, now.
It feels like the boredom, though, doesn't it?
It really does.
Like, I watched a podcast the other day, and Ed Sheeran did it. He's done a couple now, and he says he doesn't have a phone anymore. He just uses an iPad to do emails and responses once a week, and it's because when he started getting more known, he constantly got messages, and he'd go out for dinner with his dad, and his phone was and now what he does, he doesn't take his phone. So if him and his wife go out for food, they'll sit at the restaurant, and then if she has to leave to go to the toilet or whatever, she's away for 5 minutes. Most people would then whip out your phone and just kill time. He doesn't, and he says what tends to happen is because you're bored, your mind switches on, and half the songs he gets is just purely because he's sat there. And people might look at him being like, oh, Ed's just bored by himself, but he's got like 6 songs being written right there. He's like, there's a lyric, right? Make a note on a napkin kind of thing. Right, I take that back, and it's similar to like the late night thing. If your mind thinks like if you're doing absolutely nothing except being awake, all of a sudden every thought you've got mushes into lyrics, and then that adds into melodies.
Yeah, and that's literally like, and as well because my brain likes to go, I'm tired, I'm going to go to sleep, and then it goes, no, you're not. Yeah. And so I'm literally sitting. But then that is, I think, the phone for me is a terrible thing. Like I think social media and that is wonderful, but it is the creative death.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
and I do find myself now, like I'll find, like I'll just be, you know, I might think, well, this next line needs to rhyme. I just can't think of anything, so I'll go on Rhyme Zone or something. And before I know it, I'm scrolling through Instagram, and I'm just like, this is so. But like for like an hour, like the time is literally just. So I try my hardest not to, because as well I constantly, not so much compare myself, but I look at a wonderful vocalist, because I mean I'm very much I can't sing very well, I can't play very well, but I think my songs are decent. And I'm all my favourite songwriters aren't great players or great singers, but the story is beautiful and it deserves to be told.
Yeah. The story is the most important part.
That's it. But when I hear on Instagram like someone with the voice of an angel, I'm just like, well, I'm never playing music again. Like, you know, I just wish that I could just have these silky smooth pipes.
You're competing with the world, aren't you?
Very
like,
much
just
so.
Like it's right in your face. You think, oh yeah, that's okay. You need to give up because you're never going to be like that. You need to give up because you're never going to be like that. And you're like, oh, Christ's sake. But then you forget that you're just you're your own person. You write your own story, and like, you know, people resonate with it. Then great.
Well, that's it. Yeah. There's a resemblance you've got of a fella called Ren. I don't know if you've ever heard his
Ren,
music.
So Ren's awesome.
It's
I do. You've got
he's
similar.
He's more like rap talky kind of
Yeah.
thing, but in comparison to like resemblance, and in terms of like the music that relates to people, like you say, your kind of music, that kind of stuff. And he made it big on one song, and I can't remember what it's called. I don't know if it's just called High Ren.
Yeah, High Ren. Yeah, yeah. So when we
and obviously his music video where he's just him talking to himself in like a mental asylum kind of thing. And it's one of them, I think when you look at like pop music and stuff, and everybody look at the melody, the hook, but how intense that was, and how like down to relatable, and how like close it was. It's not like, oh, I'll put barriers up. That tends to be a really good way of getting an audience. So like you say yourself, you might not think you're the best singer, or you might not think you're the best guitarist, although the song we heard before sounded great.
Yeah. Cheers, man.
But the relatability and the trueness to the songs that you've got is the type of thing that you should keep to push forward. Like, never, like you were saying yourself, you've got songs that aren't ready to come out, and when you're ready to release them. But never be scared that, oh, this is too personal, because there's going to be somebody out there who's like, I'm waiting for that really big connection song, and that could be sitting there. So it's a really good thing to have with you.
No, cheers, man. And I think I do, funny enough, I see me similar parallels to Ren, because he had an illness in his early 20s that stopped him for about 10 years. Yeah. So it's quite weird to see, like, because I mean, I'm 35 now, and I look at myself and I think, like, you know, when did this happen? But then it's like, I feel like I wouldn't have wrote the songs I had 5 or 6, 7 years ago.
Yeah.
Like, there's just no way.
Yeah.
I mean, I still, I have 3 kids, and I still think I'm a child, like most people. But like, so the fact that I can touch people on such a nice human level, like, it honestly, I know I keep saying it, but it's just magic. Like, generally, I can't get over it. Even when I get a book, like somebody offered us a gig this morning, I was like, me? Like, really? But it's like, it's crazy. But I love it.
Mint. Cool. We'll take a short break. We'll come back with part 2.
Awesome.
And yeah, we'll see you there.
Yep. See you in a bit.
I don't have time with me. I'm assuming I was right.
What back, baby?
You heard that one, right?
Yeah, I did. Welcome back to side 2, where we're all back here.
Yeah. James has developed a lisp.
Yeah.
And
got a lot of strepsil.
So we're going to make some stuff up. We had an episode with a lass called Paige H the other day, and we were just discussing Michael Jackson's Monkey. So if you could have an animal that wasn't a generic pet, kind of like your dog, cat, what would you have that was like part of you, part of your image?
I'd like to think it'd be something cool, like a tiger or something, but it just wouldn't be. It would be like a sloth. Like,
why did I was literally thinking sloth just then. I was like,
absolute
sloth.
Like, I mean, I just think they're fascinating. I would love to live a life like a sloth.
Oh,
like,
yeah, absolutely.
Like a current sloth, because like I'm sure the ones of like the dino ages were gigantic.
Massive.
Yeah, no, I want to be the proper slobby, lazy.
Yeah.
One of
like,
just chills in a tree for the eternity of its existence.
Yeah, I can imagine them talking.
Yeah.
It's Zootopia,
Yeah. Nick.
No.
It's funny because you see videos of them like on the road, and they're just like that, trying like, oh no, there's a car coming. It's like that thing of Austin Powers, and it's just like, it's like too far away. He's like, oh no.
But that's my. I think that would be it. I think that's how it's pretty much how I live my life. If people say get a move on, I'm like
spirit animal in it.
I'm just steady, slow and steady wins the race. You know?
Yeah, man. So, a randomly flamingo popped in my head. I don't know why. I've got no resemblance to flamingos, but that would be a cool one to have.
I think so. No, I think
sit in your back garden there, just standing one leg off the time.
That's it. Proper balance sensation.
Turning white because I haven't got any shrimps. Oh well.
Because it's the colour of the food that makes them pink, and
yeah.
I find that mad. That
if you change skin colour to the food that you ate regularly,
I thought this podcast was going in a completely different direction there.
What colour do you reckon it would change you into?
I eat a lot of chocolate, so no. I don't know actually. You know what? Because I eat a lot of like rice and chicken and noodles and stuff. So
You just go paler.
it would just be paler. Yeah, I'll just be the same colour. It's like, so yeah, that I'm dead bored with that kind of stuff.
I had Frosties this morning. I'd probably just be like orange.
Yeah.
Look like I had one of them fake tans on a Tuesday night.
That'd be incredible. I think I'd be quite orange. My favourite meals like breakfast. I have like a piece of toast. I'm so like this is how I'm very particular about me morning routine. And it's a particular type of toast because it's like a door wedge, and then with like 3/4 of a tub of peanut butter on.
Oh yeah.
And I mean, like, I'm not kidding. Like, piled about
thick.
that high on, and so much that you can't actually chew it. I think I would just turn into the colour of whatever the
peanut butter.
Yeah, because it's my favourite.
I like peanut butter, but it does get that point where you're like, it's just stuck.
Oh, yeah. Especially first thing in the morning, like if I've got to be out the house and I'm trying to shove peanut butter down me, it's just claggy all day. But I think that's me. That would be me go-to.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, peanut butter and everything, man.
Ah, that's peanut butter. I remember I tried one time. This is how like stupid I am. There was a joke on Keenan and Kel where he ordered peanut butter and he got peanuts and butter. And he said, "Well, just put them together." And I thought that's how you make peanut butter. I didn't realise it was just like crushed up peanuts and like in a kind of spread.
Yeah.
I thought it was generally they just crushed some peanuts, got like actual butter, and just kind of mixed
Stuck it in.
So I used to try and recreate my own peanut butter by using butter and peanuts. And I was like, why is this not working?
It just doesn't.
It's crazy. James is there saying like, obviously that's not the case. Until he mentioned that story, I assume that's how you make peanut butter.
Oh,
Peanuts
that's all
and
right.
butter.
That's fine.
It's the same thing, isn't it?
I feel I'm not daft then. It was a Keenan and Kel joke, and I thought I took it as like literal fact.
Yeah.
It's like the kind of fake
That
news
would've made
media, isn't it?
sense.
It's just like,
If it's just peanut spread in it.
If anybody's going to give you these true life things, it's Keenan and Kel. So
Yeah.
more fool them for not
Follow
being
them through.
correct.
they should call it peanut spread because that's what it is.
Yeah.
The
Start a petition.
yeah, we should change the name. Peanut spread.
There we go. Start calling it that.
Yeah.
Do you ever call household items like different things? Like I don't know if I've always said this, but we went camping a couple of years ago and I said fairy up liquid instead of fairy washing up liquid.
Right, yeah.
And it came off so smoothly that everyone else went, "What do you call that? Fairy up liquid?"
Yeah.
And I don't know if I've been saying it for my entire life or if that's the moment it changed.
Yeah.
I'm sure that was fair. I'm sure it has been fairy up liquid.
Is fairy up liquid right to
Fairy
you?
up, yeah.
It's out. It's
sure.
rose
Everyone else
Almost
goes
better than
fairy
fairy up.
washing up liquid.
No, I'm
I'd call it fairy up liquid.
It's definitely fair. Honestly,
But everyone I've said that to has been like, "Are you saying fairy up liquid?" I was like, "I don't know how long I've said that for."
This could be a Mandela effect here. Fairy up.
The thing in our house
Yeah.
is everything's the thing. Just that's that thing over there. It's
Yeah.
just like, but then weirdly, you just know what it is. Just like this.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's just like you know thingy from that thingy. I him. It's
Yeah.
like everything, but yet me and my wife have been together. We've been married 13 years, and we've been together since we're like
Yeah, so
12. So it's
Yeah.
like we know each other like inside
Yeah.
out. Like so like it comes
telepathy at some point.
Yeah, it is pretty much now. Like now, I mean, I just know instantly. She doesn't even have to look at us, and I'm just like, yeah, I'm in trouble.
I've been with mine for like, I'd say wife to be for like 6 years, and I'm the same. All right, that's me in the bad books. I coughed.
Yeah, literally, as I was walking down here this morning, I was like, I had a 2.5 minute voice memo of me wife saying, "Do you realise you've done this morning? Like you're so like you just don't, you're not aware of anything." Like, and I'm just like, yeah, that's standard crack in my house.
Yeah.
I'm just forever just learning the ropes every day.
That's mad. There's a full-blown argument on whether it should be called Fairy Up Liquid or Fairy Washing Up Liquid. But I'm team Fairy Up Liquid.
No, I think
that's more people call it Fairy Up Liquid. I think the commoners call it Fairy Up Liquid.
Okay,
Yeah,
so I'm an official commoner.
I think so, yeah.
Cool.
You call it Fairy Up Liquid.
Comment below, let us know, do you call it Fairy Up Liquid or Fairy Washing Up Liquid or just Washing Up Liquid?
Fairy sauce, I think someone else called it.
That's a different
Fairy
thing, that James.
sauce.
That's what you get in the magical forest.
yeah, and you never come back. Yeah.
One of the words is right.
You were saying before that you don't use a producer, but you'd like to occasionally.
Yeah.
Have you ever looked into going to use producers for any songs, or has anyone ever approached you at all?
A couple of times people have, but I've had like one time when a friend who's a wonderful music producer, he makes music for Netflix and all sorts. He's wonderfully talented. He had a go at producing us, and I think we got about halfway through the song, just like, Matt, if our friendship is going to last, I'm just not. But I kind of started as a producer before an artist, so like in the studio, I feel very comfortable. It's more when I'm. For me, I need somebody to say, just like it is. It's just stop, like, because when I'm tracking guitar, like, I find that the perfection is just will never be there, and I will never hear the quality of the take. Vocals, I'm kind of like, yeah, that's what I sound like. That's as good as it's going to get. But guitar, there's a little resonance on that E that I'm not quite happy with in 30 seconds in, but like that's it. And it's someone to say, leave that realness and just move on from it, as opposed to like everything else. I feel like I'm very comfortable with, bar someone just saying move on, like or it's that's a dud. Don't just, what are you doing? Which I do have some very trusted people. Like I've always kind of got producers because I've got a couple of, like, one of my old bandmates is still to this day, is like, he's like my brother, and as soon as I've got an idea that I'm reasonably happy with, I'll share it with him. I'm more than comfortable sharing it with him, and he's very honest. He's very like, yeah, you've missed the ball there, Matt. Or he's like, I mean, luckily, touch wood, he's 9 times out of 10 I crack on with that, and but it's you know, the typical thing is, as much as I would love it, I'm a total control freak.
Yeah.
And because I think the nature of my songs, I think I would just cringe and die if I was in a room with somebody I didn't know that well, if that makes sense.
Yeah,
like,
I get you.
I kind of feel like, as much as it's a struggle and I would love it, I've got to do it that way.
Yeah.
To work through the stuff I'm working through, which is, I think, weird, but it's well, I feel I get the results. But it would be nice, maybe one day I would love, because ideally I would like to, most recordings are like band recordings, I'd like to get a band together, and I think then I would pass on the reins, because I'm very much, when it comes to guitar parts, I don't write any, I have an idea, but I'm very much like, let's try it. Yeah. And people, even like some of the people I work with are like, oh, you're too nice. I'm just like, but what happens if it's brilliant?
Yeah.
What happens if that, you know, that little tiny thing, can I just try it? What happens if it's magic?
You can always take it out if
exactly.
It doesn't work.
And I mean, I think that's half my problem as well. I'll sit there for 4 days, just in case there's something, you know, and I don't know when to go, yeah, that's not working.
To be fair, I've had songs for years that I've recorded them and stuff, but they've been okay. And then it's only until like I've completely forgot about them, then I remember that I recorded them. This is how bad I am, by the way. I was like, oh yeah, I forgot about that song. And I was like, oh, why haven't I added this little bit? And then there's that little bit that I just think, oh, that changes the song completely. So it's that benefits me, to be honest. Just sitting on songs for years, just like not doing anything with them. Then you figure out. Then I think, I'm so glad I didn't record that actually, because
definitely.
Because then I've got. But if I was in a studio, that's the thing. If I was in a studio, you'd have the pressure of you have to record it today. But if you're saying yourself production and stuff, that's the one advantage. I mean, it's never gonna. I'm not the best producer in the world, so my songs are never gonna be production-wise the best ever. But I think if I can just hold on and wait. I mean, in terms of the guitar parts and stuff like that, if I do I'll run through one and go, yeah, that'll do. But it's just like if there's a certain riff or a certain lick or a certain thing, that's the thing that always puts me kind of back from actually releasing things.
Yeah, and it's funny because all my favourite artists and producers, like you can hear background noise, you hear like wrong note, and I think that's just wonderful. As soon as I've got it on my recordings, I'm like, these are just, I'm just messing up here. It's like, and it's just detaching myself from that. That's the hardest thing I find, detaching myself. Like with another artist, I mean, when I used to write songs for other people and work on when I work on other artist stuff, I think because it's not so personal, I'm easy. Work on a brief, I'll have something, pretty quickly. My stuff, I will sit on it.
Yeah, it's because it has to be.
Yeah, and it's just. But now I feel like it's almost me process. Now I used to write at the laptop, and then I never knew me songs. Like, so do you want to play these live? I'm like, I don't know them because I literally wrote the parts as I was going into the computer. Whereas now I'm like, I'll sit and I'll write a song to completion, practice it, play it. Like this morning I wrote a song in the middle of the night, and I practiced it, voice memoed it, and then I'll sit on that for a month, and then I'll hopefully start tracking it.
And see, it's the stark opposite of Bob Dylan. There's a song in Blonde on Blonde, which is like it was like double LP release. It's called I Want You, and I think it's the third or fourth verse. He just forgets the words, but it's still on. It's the weirdest because he's like. And I would, and I mean, I do. He literally like mumbles the words, and and then he rushes it. Yeah, but it's in. It's just like he's just like, oh, that'll do.
But it makes it authentic.
Well, that's
There's a song by George Ezra, Shotgun. On the 58th second, he burps halfway through it.
Never.
You can hear it, but it comes in with like the drum beat, and it's just in.
That's amazing.
And when you hear it, you don't unhear it. It's mental.
That's amazing. And I bet that's on like a track live as well. And I bet they're like that. The song just doesn't have the kick without that now. Yeah,
they were trying to find like a sound that replicates kind of like extra thing, and it's just a burp. That's like
it's in key.
I love that though. I get lost in stuff like that. I love making textures and like a lot of me songs. Like you don't hear it, but you feel it. Like Under Fallen, there's a constant just like air, and it's just and muted. It's and soloed and turned up. It's the worst sounding thing in existence. But buried underneath the track, it's just fills out a gap.
Yeah, you can't hear exactly what it is, but it's just that
without putting more instruments in.
Yeah,
because that's something I believe as well. Like I'm huge on space.
Yeah.
Like I'm massive on and that's something I think. Being in bands and and like as a drummer I was the same. It could be a fill there. It's like no, it's just like this is not the part for a drum. And like guitarists can't say I could do a little lick there. It's like now I'm like
let it breathe,
and let it just let the song do what it's supposed to do.
Yeah.
As opposed to filling it with.
Yeah.
But then I find the textures in that work fill that gap without filling it up.
Yeah, that's it. That's a good way of putting it actually.
Yeah. And obviously with the songs that you've got out now, do you reckon they're just going to be singles, or do you aspire them to be like part of an EP or part of an album?
I would love to release an EP. I'm working on at the minute like an acoustic EP, because partly like when I first record my tracks, I instantly hear them drum like a full band thing. But then as I'm playing more and more live, I get a lot of people saying, the meaning and it comes across more acoustically.
Yeah.
So I'm trying to now bridge the gap and releasing the songs that I play live, how you would hear them if you came to saw us live, and then release a version that's all bells and whistles. And
well, that's it. I think acoustically, if you slow it down and like drop your tempo and go quieter, people listen more. And they're like, what's on. Okay, now. And then you can get your adaptations.
Very much so. And all my songs, like Fallen, started so quiet and so soft.
Yeah.
Like it's not the song that the finished product. It started off a very, very somber tune, and then over time it progressed into what it is.
Yeah.
It was me mate Matt Fairley. He's a wonderful drummer. He's he came in. I never heard the four on the floor. Dum 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 dum. I just heard like dum dum tack dum, just straight, straight for 8-beat, and he literally said, "What if I just intro just the drums and just like straight just ba ba?" I was just like, that's incredible. Like, I never thought of that, and that from there. So I like to keep things. Again, I think it kind of works for us. Like if I make them as, I always think like if I was trying to like all my songs kind of start like as like near young birds, almost so quiet and gentle, and then I just let them. If I feel like in time they progress to something else, great, and if they don't, that's how it's meant to be. Yeah. And I try not to fight it now. Yeah. Still now and then I'm like, I kind of wanted it to be, but then I'm also want it in my head. I'm very stubborn. It's like I'll tell myself, well, no, that song is definitely meant to be quiet and acoustic. Yeah. And then the other side of me brain of battle saying, no, but you wanted it like this. But the song, so I'm constantly sitting. And I think that's why as well I do a lot on my own, because if I was having this conversation in front of people would just be like, this guy's the weirdest person I've ever met in my life. So I tend to just do that all.
I get that. Like I've got a producer now. I go to Blast, which is up the road from here. And I went in once to do Home, which is the song that I had 2 years ago.
It's a wonderful song, yeah.
And I remember going in feeling really awkward because I've never met this guy. So when we're doing it, I was like, that'll do, cool, whatever you want kind of thing. And it was an alright song. It came like third in the physical charts. It did alright. But since then, I've recorded an EP that's come out. I just need to record the chorus on a song, and then I've done an entire album in a second EP. And I've just had the master back for the next single I've got coming out, and the difference between them two songs, and I think it's nothing to do with his abilities, because he's fantastic at what he does. I think that's more the confidence I've had in being more myself around him as I've grown into using a producer.
I think that's a massively important thing though. Like quite often if I'm going to work with an artist, they often find it weird. Like I don't like work hourly or anything. I'll say like, let's come in for a few sessions and we're going to just hang out. Yeah. And people some people think it's weird, but I'm like, how are you going to bear your soul to me? Yeah. And how am I going to give you 100% if? I've turned projects away from my studio before, like that. I just know that I wouldn't give 100%, and I'd rather not have the money, which I hate talking about money when it comes to creative stuff, but I'd rather not have that and someone go, well, that was just bad, than me say, actually, I'm not the best, and push them in a direction to somebody else.
Which is well, it's your reputation. That's what's.
That's it. And I mean, when I was younger, I did do that, and I thought, I can do. You're just producing a song, I can do it. Which you can, but when you're not 100% in it, it's a chore, and the band know that, and the finished product, I think, I love automation. I love making tracks move and just bumping things here and there whenever there's a space for it. If you're not in it, you're not going to sit there and go into that really fine-tuned work if you're not feeling it. And I'd rather say, sorry, it's just not for me. And sometimes you huff somebody, but 9 times out of 10, people are very grateful for it.
It's not wasting time, is it? Exactly. It's just getting the right thing.
Exactly.
That's cool. This episode should be out end of July-ish.
Awesome.
Is there anything you want to plug, whether songs or gigs coming out?
Well, I've got loads of gigs. Like, weirdly enough, like this week has been mental. Like, again, we're talking about phones. Like, my phone has been non-stop, which is crazy, because I always get, every time I play a gig, I'm like, well, that's the last one. No, they've sawn through it. I'm never going to get another gig. And then before I know, so I've got like, I'm playing, I'm part of like a songwriting circle. With Johnny Boyle, I don't know if you know Johnny. And we're doing a gig on Saturday at the local pub that would do that, and then I've got a few gigs. I'm doing a few shows with an American artist called Joey Witt in September. Okay. He's coming to bring his band over from the States. It's wonderful, like Americana, like fantastic. I'm doing a few dates with them. I think I'm doing Leeds, Newcastle, and possibly Liverpool.
Brilliant.
And then I've got loads coming up. I've got a gig. 2 or 3 gigs at the Ticket Office in Whitley Bay in July and August. Yeah. The White Rooms in Stanley, I don't know if you know that.
I've heard of it, but I've never been there before.
Awesome venue.
It's quite new, isn't it?
Yeah, it's literally been taken over like beginning of the year. Yeah. Incredible. That's why loads. And then hopefully just music. Like, I'm a bit of a knacker, so like I literally fly by the seat of my pants. I don't know when the next track's coming out, but I've got
songs.
Yeah, I've got like I say, there's probably currently now finished on my hard drive. There's about 50 songs that I do intend to release.
Brilliant.
And it's just when.
Yeah.
Because again, it's as daft as it is solely a confidence thing. Like, I genuinely think if I put this out, people are going to go, "You idiot." So it's but I'll get over it, because I did it with Fawn, I did it with Sunday Morning. Like the last song I've just released, I've never made a music video, and I made a music, which I noticed a massive thing, but it's literally me sitting on a couch in my garden staring at the camera.
Yeah.
And so I'm just, but I loved it. I loved the process. So I'm just gonna watch out for lots of stuff.
Yeah, brilliant. And if they were going to follow you on socials, what's the social tags?
Yeah, it's Matt Fairley Music UK on all the socials.
Perfect.
Instagram, Facebook.
Best way to do it.
Yeah,
absolutely. Yeah.
We are at Off the Stage UK. If you haven't yet, drop us a follow, comment if you've got any. Well, if you've got any opinions, is it Fairy Up Liquid or Fairy Up Washing Up Liquid? Let us know
Fairly
who you want to see on.
Oh, look at that.
Yeah.
There we go. Fairly Up Liquid.
Fairly Up Liquid.
Yeah.
I'm really starting a petition.
The
now.
brand is Fairy.
Oh,
So it's Fairy
Matt
Up.
Fairley.
Okay, I get you now.
Yeah.
I got
See
it.
what I did there?
I get you now. Yeah.
I got it.
If it's Fairly Up Liquid.
I appreciate that.
But yeah, thank you very much for coming on.
No, thanks so much for having us.
We've obviously already recorded the song, but would you like to introduce it to the guys?
Yeah, this is my song called Fallen.
See you next week.
See you later. There we go.
Bent over, doubled in pain, making things worse, so I plaster a smile. Every day starts the same, numbing myself and attempt to beguile. I'm coming out, I'm not myself. I'm bringing my worst to everybody else. Don't think anyone could blame. It's such a shame, it's such a shame. And I fall, no one catch me when I come down. I'm falling faster than the speed of sound. I'm falling, heading to the ground. Have changed. Once done for the crack, now done to survive. Totally detached and estranged. I know I'm not living, but I'm still alive. You pick me up off the floor countless times, and there will be more. Wash another down, let it take the pain away. Such a crying shame. And I fall, no one catch me when I come down. I'm falling faster than the speed of sound. I'm falling, heading to the ground. Fall so many times I can't keep count. I fall so many times I can't keep count. I fall so many times I can't keep count. I fall so many times. And I fall, no one catch me when I come down. I'm falling faster than the speed of sound. heading to the ground.
Thank you very much.